All right. 5:30 having arrived, I would like to call to order our Finance and Personnel Committee meeting on Monday, January 8th, 2024. Roll call, please.
Alder West,
Present.
Alder Horton,
Here.
Alder Lamb. Here. Alder Paslab.
Here.
Alder McCarthy.
Present.
That completes roll call.
All right, thank you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the November 27th, 2023 meeting. Move to approve. Second. All right, properly moved by the vice chair and seconded properly. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right, minutes approved. First item.
Item number 0005-24, communication sponsored by Alder West on behalf of the fire chief requesting permission to appropriately dispose of fire department surplus engine 31 and other surplus equipment to the Racine Founders Rotary Foundation upon execution of a hold harmless agreement. Staff recommendation that the fire chief be granted permission to appropriately dispose of fire department surplus engine 31 and other surplus equipment to the Racine Founders Rotary Foundation upon execution of a hold harmless agreement. Fiscal note, no budgetary impact. Chief Hansen is here to speak on the item.
Good evening, Chair West, Alderman, Mayor Mason. This fire engine that we're looking at donating to the Racine Founders Foundation is 35 years old and was retired last year. The fire department obviously takes care of the equipment and the maintenance and got a lot of years of service out of this vehicle, and it's well past its ability to serve the city of Racine. It's become almost impossible to get parts for the vehicle, although it is still in good running condition. The problem that we encounter is that there's no value to the engine. We did ask two different dealers in fire apparatus to provide us with estimates on the value of the engine. Both of them said because the market is flooded with these older fire engines that there was virtually no value to the vehicle itself. So we're looking at donating this to the Racine Founders Foundation. They are looking at donating it to a third world country to provide a fire engine that they currently don't have. So that's what this transaction is about. We also have some older self-contained breathing apparatus that will go along with this vehicle down to Central America. And hopefully serve several more years down there where they really don't have anything comparable to this at this time. They do have the ability to staff and run the fire engine down there. It's a volunteer fire department. So we're going to go donate it to the Rotary Club, and then they will arrange for transportation getting it down to Central America.
Thank you. Any questions for Chief Hansen? All right. Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve item 005-24. Do I have a second? All right, properly moved by the chair and seconded by the vice chair. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carried. Thank you. Next item.
Item number 0011-24, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason on behalf of the chief of police requesting permission to apply for and if awarded, accept the 2023 local community grant number 00541. Staff recommendation that the chief of police be granted permission to apply for and if awarded, accept the 2023 local community grant. Fiscal note grant is in the amount of $3,500, city match NA. Chief Ramirez is here to speak on the item.
Good evening. Mayor, we do have two grants for tonight. With me, I have Deputy Chief Rick Keller, who does oversee our grant. He's my point person for the department, and he's always willing to help me out and answer some of these questions that comes. Yes, this is a $3,500 grant for Cops for Kids. Every year we do one of these grants. This year I got to participate over at the Walmart. Quite a large crowd that we had. I don't have the exact number of individuals that participated, but a number of our officers, as well as some of our professional civilian staff participated in. And $3,500 does come up this upper duty factor.
All right, any questions for Chief Ramirez?
I don't have a question, Chief. I just want to just commend the PD. Every year I know it's been a tremendous amount of room that is much needed. especially around time of Christmas time, for those that are unfortunate to have things. And I think that they do a great job in getting out there and helping the community out and also kids and families. So good job.
Thank you, appreciate it. You're absolutely right. There are families out there that really don't have the means to provide for their loved ones. And it's wonderful when you see our police officers and their civilian staff just go with us and shop with them, and you hear the stories. It's so families. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion for item 0011-24. Approved.
Second.
All right, properly moved by Alderman McCarthy and seconded by Alderman Lamb. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried.
Item number 0017-24, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason on behalf of the Chief of Police requesting permission to apply for and if awarded, accept the alcohol enforcement grant number 00533. Staff recommendation that the Chief of Police be granted permission to apply for and if awarded, accept the alcohol enforcement grant number 00533. Fiscal note grant amount is $20,000. City match is between 0 and 25%. Soft match will be funded through the RPD General Fund. Ramirez.
Yeah, this is another grant that we get. We worked through Mount Pleasant on this particular grant, they're the fiduciary on it. But this is, again, helps us, obviously, for alcohol enforcement, our alcohol enforcement effort. I would have the numbers on the people we have stopped their residents. That helps us, pay our officers overtime to enforce this type of thing.
All right, okay, Alderman McCarthy, you have the floor.
Thank you. It's probably actually for the issue here. So this is all national thing where you have funding available in the general fund. I thought this was like hours and those kind of things for a soft match.
Correct. So a soft match would be additional hours. So this only covers a very small portion of the overtime associated with our alcohol enforcement. The rest of it is paid for out of the general fund. So that's what the soft match is.
The overtime is paid for the general fund.
Yes.
Thank
Great point of reference, thank you. Any other questions? This time I entertain a motion for 0017-24. I'll make a motion to move to approve.
Okay.
Properly moved by the chair and seconded by Alderman McCarthy. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 0016-24, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason on behalf of the Chief of Police requesting permission to apply for and if awarded, accept the seatbelt enforcement grant number 00534. Staff recommendation that the Chief of Police be granted permission to apply for and if awarded, accept the seatbelt enforcement grant number 00534. Fiscal note, grant amount is $19,000. City match is between 0 and 25% soft match, which will be funded through the RPD General Fund. Chief Ramirez.
Again, similar to the prior item, this money helps us with our enforcement efforts. And it's the seatbelt enforcement. Very similar. You put officers in overtime, you put out cyanide speeds, sign that by overtime for. We just enforce seatbelt.
Alderman McCarthy, you have the floor.
Thanks. So the alcohol, when I get people out there, you see them swerving, that kind of thing. How do you tell people aren't wearing seatbelts?
Just like any grade, we can observe, that is a primary violation if you don't have your seatbelt on. And this is a secondary violation, but if you're not wearing your seatbelt, you can see it. There are times though where people do a quick one like that, I had it on, but it happens,
That's going to work during the day.
most likely.
Thank you.
So is this something that's enforced all the time or?
Well, it would be enforced all the time, we could do that time, but we do, when we put officers out on this specific, that's what they're here for.
Oh, gotcha.
And the person is drinking without their seatbelt on.
And then we'll have another one coming up in the city.
Yeah, there's another one. Yeah.
All right, hopefully not forgetting on this on. Right. All right, any other questions? At this time, I entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
One second.
All right, properly moved by the vice chair. And seconded by Alderman Penford. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Sorry about that.
Item number 0015-24, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason on behalf of the Chief of Police for permission to apply for and if awarded, accept the speed enforcement grant number 00547. Staff recommendation that the Chief of Police be granted permission to apply for and if awarded, accept the speed enforcement grant number 00547. Fiscal note, grant amount is $9,000. City match, again, between 0 and 25% soft match, which will be funded through the RPD General Fund. Chief Ramirez.
Again, like the prior two items, this is a speed enforcement grant we assign it specific for overtime purposes. Biggest complaints I get, and I'm sure you guys will see them as always, is our speed. We've done some efforts as far as trying to get temporary speed bumps out of, put our control up, and not only for this grant, but speed is one of the things I get a lot of complaints on. This helps us and enhances our ability to really focus on this instead of getting drawn away from other calls for service.
Why is it only $9,000?
Correct, have you answered that? Why is it only 9?
I don't know why it's only 9, it's just, that's our allocation from the overall Mount Pleasant grant.
It should be the other.
Good job, it should
Yeah.
be more, but
It's been similar to that dollar amount for
Okay.
literally as long as I can remember.
Right, until we do,
Thank you.
Do you have plans on, watching the speeds that are located in between school zones? Because I know for a fact, I believe it was last year that I received multiple calls about, excessive speeding on Martin Luther King by Julian Thomas. I know we did put, the radar machine there. And it worked for probably, I don't know, hour or two, but we still had those cars that were just blowing right past that sign. So I'm just curious to hear from you. What is the plan for that?
in addition to what is enforcement, we have other enforcement efforts, whether it's the electronic signs that we have up on, I think, in 5 areas throughout town. We also have the 4-speed trailers that we use where we get the complaints. In 2024 budgets, we were allowed to purchase 4 more. Those do help. Unfortunately, that not a lot of people go by and say, well, let me check my speed to see the calibrates with the. It's just the psychology behind it. It does slow people down. We do monitor. There is some sort of like, not really, it's not photo, but we do get the data off of them. It gives us who's the highest speed, which is the lowest, what's the busy time of day. So that type of data helps to put out if we need to put an officer in that area, or does it meet with the Department of Transportation requires, but you have to have a 3%, more than 3% of people speeding in order to put like, but we do, there is some science that goes behind.
Thank you for that information. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve item 0015-24. Do I have a second? All right, properly moved by the chair and seconded by Alderman Paffrath. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries.
Item number 0014-24, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason on behalf of the Chief of Police requesting permission to apply for and if awarded, accept the fiscal year 2024 beat control grant number 00534. Staff recommendation that the Chief of Police be granted permission to apply for and if awarded, accept the 2024. Is this supposed to be say beat patrol?
Should be.
I assume that's supposed to say beat patrol, Pam, sorry. I should have caught that on Friday. As I'm reading it out loud, I'm like, there's no such thing. 00539 fiscal note, grant amount is $121,434, city match $40,478 available in the city budget. Chief Ramirez.
Thank you again. Yeah, this particular one funds 2 of our officers, 2 of our active officers, which helps us quite a bit. Basically, it's a DOJ grant that helps the use of our crime rates and right now we have a 14% decrease in our UCR reporting for type 1 crimes. We have to report that out to the state, so that helps us get and maintain this grant and renew this grant. We have 2 of our busy officers, Enrique Cruz and Zach Brenner are on this grant. That's how they get funded, and it's another renewable that we've had for 2 years, and we can bring crime down to zero, then the grant won't be available. We always want our officers out there, and if we can find funding sources to pay them, this is one way to do it.
Alderman McCarthy, you have the floor.
Thank you. Chief, so beat control implies one thing, I believe, is it really more officers basically though, or is it just funding? for-
It gives us two officers.
Okay, it's not walking the downtown area.
No, beat control is some historical part of beat could be an area.
Okay.
We have these officers assigned to the Geneva area, the Geneva House area, so it's but they also participate in other areas where we see a spike in crime with those officers in that area.
Yeah,
Yes.
and Director Fisher, this one, this, and raise it as well, city match from the city budget, is it from the RPD general budget?
Yes, this is an actual hard match that is budgeted separately in the RPD budget. It's actually budgeted as a transfer to special revenue because it gets transferred into a grant fund.
Okay,
So this is an actual hard match.
that's spelled out.
We can put a little more detail in there.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for 0014-24.
To approve.
Second.
Second, all right, properly moved by Alderman McCarthy and seconded by Alderman Lamb. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 0013-24, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason on behalf of the Chief of Police requesting permission to apply for and if awarded, accept the 2023-24 Mayor's Gang Collaborative Grant number 00542. Staff recommendation that the Chief of Police be granted permission to apply for and if awarded, accept the 2023-24 Mayor's Gang Collaborative Grant number 00542. Fiscal note, grant amount is $63,400. There is no city match. Chief Ramirez.
Thank you again. This is a variable grant. We specifically partner with State Hagen of Racine as well as the Twin Vocational Ministries. Jeanette Brown is one of the people that point person there where she can deal with at-risk youth that are making involved in that kind of life. And then Jim Johnson from the Racine Vocation for the reentry program. Another one that helps us out. I the same thing we can do to interrupt people's lives, address that cycle of violence or give them a new path for success. We're always we'll partner up with those individuals. Another way that can help us out.
For that, any questions from Chief?
No, not from Chief, but Kathleen. Kathleen,
Oh.
yeah, no, this is big one. This $63,400, this has been like this for like the longest, and it has not moved since the last 10 years. I just don't know. Is this just saying the same allocation from the governor? We've switched governors, but this money has been the same.
It is literally the exact same dollar amount, I think, for 20 years, if I recall all the way back. I will say that almost every single one of these grants, the dollar amount is exactly the same as it has been. It really goes to show, again, that soft match or hard match, city always has to contribute more and more because salaries go up, pension goes up, all that good stuff, and those grants just stay flat.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for 0013-24.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, properly moved by the vice chair and seconded by Alderman McCarthy. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief.
Item number 0021-24, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason requesting to reallocate ARPA funds to cover police department signing bonuses. Staff recommendation that the funds be made available to cover police officer signing bonuses by transferring $64,000 from ARPA student loan to ARPA hiring bonus. Fiscal note, estimated cost of the request will be $64,000. The funding will be transferred from the ARPA student loan program, account number 229105170022909, to ARPA hiring bonus program 22910517000. I will speak if I may. I will start. Lanika is here as well, just to describe the program a little bit. This is more of a fiscal item than it is programmatic, but if you have programmatic questions, she can answer them. So last year in 2023, the Common Council approved $5,000 hiring bonuses for police officers. That program was slotted to go through 12/31/2023. Those dollars were spent through 12/31/2023. And actually, we went over by about $29,000. So right now, we're over already with those that have been hired. Today, we just brought on 7 new officers. That's an additional $35,000 of hiring bonus. Would be the intention at this time for this to cover both the $29,000 that were over and the $35,000 for the officers that started today, that were sworn in today. So that's why we're asking for the $64,000. And there are funds available in the ARPA student loan program line item to cover this.
Alderman McCarthy, yeah.
Thank you. Any question? So this indicates that we are out of funding our next class. Have we stopped advertising this as the signing bonus for police, or we continue to do this?
Yes, we have.
Okay, so. And I may to the police chief in that case, then, the signing bonus, lack of signing bonus, going to negatively impact your evening.
We've had some conversations here in the last, so on all this, and I'll let her speak, is going to be kind of.
Yes, so what we found, we don't believe it will negatively impact the recruitment because we have been able to fill the classes. One of the things, with the new hires getting the sign-on bonus, we're not getting any return on our investment for like a year. Because it takes them 4.5 months for the academy, and then I believe an additional 2 months of field training, and then 2 weeks, so it's like a year. The class, the 17 that we hired with the hiring bonus last year, they received their initial first payment, and then their last payment isn't due until they're ready to hit the street, which is the end of July. What we would like to move forward with more, which is already approved, is to really promote the transfer of the laterals. So the $5,000 hiring bonus for the lateral transfer. Because those individuals are already certified, they'll just come in and receive the training, Racine PD, which is about a month, I believe, that you advised me.
And do we have funding available for that separately?
At this point, we do not. It would be the intention. We didn't have a ton of time to organize our thoughts on that, so we're gonna bring that back separately.
We'll be coming back again for additional funding.
Yes.
And one final, if I may, Mr. Chairman, is, are we overfunded on the education side of things here? Do we have some extra money to hold around?
There is plenty of money to cover this reallocation. And again, when we come back, likely with that lateral transfer, we're gonna come back with a bit of a package of reallocating some ARPA funds at that time. So yes, we definitely, there are funds available in that student loan. For right now, police and fire, that was negotiated as part of their contract. I just wanted to see how many of them started to take advantage of that. We're seeing a bit of an uptick, but not as much as I would have thought. So I'm gonna give it a little bit more time and just make sure we don't pull too much money and then that benefit isn't funded. So, but most certainly the 64,000 is available to be moved.
That's 64,000, that allocated specifically to police, or is that for the everyone?
This 64,000 is specifically for police.
All right, thank you for that explanation. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve item 0021-24. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, properly moved by the chair and seconded by, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Alderman McCarthy, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next item.
Item number 0004-24, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason on behalf of the Assistant Director of City Development, requesting approval of the 2024 General Economic Development Services Contract with Racine County Economic Development Corporation. Staff recommendation that the Assistant Director of City Development be granted permission to approve the 2024 General Economic Development Services contract with Racine County Economic Development Corporation. Further, that the mayor and city clerk or their designee be authorized and directed to enter into a contract with RCDDC for 2024 general economic development services. Fiscal note, the cost of the contract is $92,000. Sufficient funds are available in the city development professional services account 1601-52100. Assistant Director Hintz is here to speak on the item.
I'll just do a brief intro of it. This is a annual contract that we have. Our CEC helps us out with a lot of specialized things that are outside the state. The staff capability in terms of economic development function, and frankly, there's certain things better than staff will do. Jenny and Jordan are here from the CED actually to explain kind of what that looks like and what they've done for us the past year. And then if there's any questions, some combination of us will take them. But with your permission, Mr. Chair, I'd like to recognize Jenny to come forward and give a brief presentation.
Thank you for that. Welcome.
We have a handout. For next meeting, thank you so much. Thank you so much for allowing us a few minutes of your time tonight. We were told 3 to 4 minutes, so I will make this fast. Just a brief overview of what we've done in 2023 and what we have planned for 24, which is not much different than what we've been doing for the last 30 plus years. The memo that I shared with you tonight is really just an overview of what we've done in 2023. It follows the guide of the strategic plan our board adopted, the mayor is a part of. That's pretty much our work plan for the year. And then we divide that strategic plan amongst our staff members and the work is implemented. So this memo starts with business retention and expansion. This is really the core work of what any economic development organization does. It takes care of the businesses that are already here and facilitates any business expansion projects that they have planned or they'd like to implement. So we do this in a couple of different ways. One is we address any incoming calls or emails, and that's what we call technical assistance. So over a course of a year, we have about 264 technical assistance inquiries that came into us. 88 of them were related to city of Racine businesses. Our outreach, which is our proactive outreach, which might be direct calls on businesses in the city of Racine. We primarily have found great luck with walking the commercial corridors, uptown, West Racine, downtown, and we do mailings to Douglas Avenue because that's a little bit harder to walk. And as a result of that, we use the grant inquiries, local inquiries, so that's quite fruitful. So we will continue doing that in the coming years. The top of the next page are the projects that were approved last year that are located in the city of Racine. Many of these you might, recognize. Copper Manufacturer, Above and Beyond Adult Family, Vintage and Modern Books, Mexico Lindo, a favorite of many, Righteous Auto that went into the Garbo on Douglas Avenue, and then a number of grants that are listed there that were recipients of the National Grant Program for Racine County. The second category is business recruitment. Jordan is with us tonight. He leads the business recruitment initiative in Racine County. His job is really to interact with real estate professionals, site selectors, developers, just to make them aware of the opportunities that exist in Racine County, including the city. This category also captures startups. So if we're working with entrepreneurs that are trying to start a business, which we were very pleased to be able to do, we worked with 5 of them in the city of Racine last year. And then this section also captures the housing. So starting in 2018 or 19, we started to become very active in recruiting multifamily developers to build residential development. We've been drastically undersupplied in Racine County with housing. And so since that time, more than 4,000 units have been added. Many of them have been through job shoppers. So we're very pleased with that with LC Square. Third category is talent attraction. This is really us promoting Racine County and our employers, both internally to Racine County, but externally, trying to attract additional talent. We do this in a number of ways, but one of them last year, as well as what's going to occur in 2024, is in partnership with a number of local manufacturers that are feeling pressed as well, not able to find enough talent. And so we'll continue that effort in 24. We have the Greater Racine County website, which is a division of our organization, but it's really
developed to promote Racine County from a talent attraction perspective. We have 132 businesses listed on there, 47 of them are in the city of Racine. Entrepreneurship is an area that RCDC hasn't led, largely because there's a lot of other great partners that do good work. However, through COVID, through the different resources that have been available, through a lot more inquiries coming into our organization, we have realized that there is much greater demand than supply. And the supply that's out there is wonderful, but it may not be hitting all the right buttons. And so we continue to work with our partners like WIBIC and SBDC to do the work that they're doing and support them and provide referrals back and forth. But we have also identified BizStart out of Milwaukee that we think would be a great program to launch in the city of Racine. And we're moving toward doing that in 2024. So special projects, each community that we work with assigns us special projects. As Jeff had mentioned, sometimes they're outside of the capacity. You already have a full plate, or there may be specialty items that they need to have assigned. And so those are listed on the 3rd page of the memo. Again, multifamily has been one that has been assigned to us. The city has a brownfield program that we continue to administer. And then we have development agreements that we work with the City Department of Development and the Mayor's Office to implement. And then we have to monitor them over a number of years. And those are listed at the end of the memo. So, and then attached to the memo is just an overview. It's a little bit more detail. It's a strategic plan for last year. The year-end report gives you some detail about the outreach, about each of the categories that I talked about, but with a little bit more detail and some nice pictures that we captured along the road. The 2024 contract is really not that much different. We simplified it a little bit into combining some different sections, but the work remains: business expansion and retention, business recruitment, talent promotion, entrepreneurship. Really, those are the 4 pillars of what the organization will focus on in 2024. Is that 2 minutes? Felt like it.
All right, any questions?
Thank you for the overview. Seems to me we've had this overview at a committee of the whole of that kind of thing previously, as opposed to finance and personnel, or it's more in the council chambers, and I guess a chance to hear. I don't know if that's something we'd like to do, or at a minimum, at our meeting next week, have this available for all of the council members, and that thing be appropriate.
Let me come back.
Probably not time to schedule it, we hold between now and the next meeting.
Yeah, I was gonna attach it. Now that we have it, I was gonna attach it to the legislative items.
Thank you for that, and
They've been part of the council agenda in the past. I mean, if you'd like to request them to be at the, well, I don't know if it's scheduled for next, but
the schedule for next, for our next meeting next Tuesday, I'm sure the same, the abridged version of what you just gave, have that available for the rest of the council then.
Happy to.
We'll make a recommendation to the council on this, or not here, but I'm sure the rest of the council would have to give the details as well. That'd be great if you can.
Any other questions? Seeing none, at this time, I'll entertain a motion for 0004-24. Approved.
Okay.
All right, properly moved by Alderman McCarthy and seconded by Alderman Lamb. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next item.
Item number 0012-24, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason on behalf of the Assistant Director of City Development, requesting the city receive the property address as 1111 West Street, parcel number 0287900 from the County of Racine, and transfer the property to Habitat for Humanity for the purpose of redevelopment. Staff recommendation that the receipt of the property address as 1111 West Street from the County of Racine to the City of Racine be approved, and that the property be transferred to Habitat for Humanity for the purpose of redevelopment. Fiscal note: Habitat for Humanity will reimburse the city for title transfer, recording any applicable fees, estimated at approximately $30. Assistant Director Hintz is here to speak on the item.
Hello, thanks for having me back. This property, county actually acquired in April of last year. Previously, it had a raise order for 3 structures that were on it. Those were demolished back in 2018 due to dilapidation. The county foreclosed on it for back taxes and payment for those structures. Habitat requested the property to build on. This is within the Lincoln King area. If you're from the Lincoln King development plan, they would build the house plan that the city development housing division has. They will count towards the units for that. They'll be funded from that grant particularly. And they will build again our products using our materials. They're just essentially a function as a contractor, and then they will sell these to folks that qualify for the program. That usually does, and the plus side does is still put some of their money into it as well, so we won't see the full cost of the construction. And then the qualified owner will then buy them and then give them to them. That's the gist of it. The way the foreclosure transfers work, the county cannot just give it to Habitat. It has to come through the adjacent municipality, or if it's in this case, the city. That we would just transfer to them for the $30 in the 20 fees. That's the gist of it. Generally, if there's questions, I can take those.
On McCarthy, has Florence, the area. Have there been managing a lot of the developments there for the housing portion?
We're still working on assembling the land with legal staff and whatnot. Habitat, so we could choose the bid. We'll do some RFPs and RFQs. This is a lot that's kind of off the beaten path of our general project area. It's within the vicinity. It's just east of Julian on the school behind. There's like a couple stores there. There's a lot kind of sinks in a little bit, but to answer your question, Habitat could, if we haven't done this, really the first one to actually go on within
So why would we not just roll this into the entire RFP as opposed to saying, doing this one out for Habitat or anybody else?
Good question. They've requested this one. It's not one that the city or the CDA controls. The county has this particular lot. They're ready to go on it. So given the other areas are still doing land assemblage, this one's a little bit in front of it. It's not contiguous to any of the areas. It's within the general target area, but just due to speed and I'm getting the logistics together, they've requested that they come a little bit sooner than the others.
They will be subject to the same standards all the other housing will be subject to.
Correct. Yep, they'll use our plans. They're gonna the same specs. Yep, same specs, same house plans. They'll take care of this and then sell it to folks that are in the program at the time.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve 0012-24. Do I have a second? Second. Properly moved by the chair and seconded by the vice chair. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. That's right.
Item number 1177-23, communication sponsored by Alder West on behalf of the city attorney's office, submitting the claim of Jessica Perrine for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed. Assistant City Attorney Rubin here to speak on the item.
Jessica Perrine, is a representative of Lock and Key Realty LLC, who owns a property at 3800 Southwood Drive in Racine. She's filed a claim for $5,139.57 in damages, resulting from an alleged sewer backup in one property's basement back on August 28th last year. Because the blockage was found to be, that was causing this backup, was found to be in the sewer lateral, which is on private property, as opposed to the sewer main, which is on public responsibility. It's the responsibility of the property owner to maintain this. For that reason, we recommend disallowance because the city is not liable for these taxes.
Second. All right, properly moved by Alder McCarthy and seconded by Alder West. All those in favor for disallowance, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 1178-23, communication sponsored by Alder West on behalf of the city attorney's office, submitting the claim of Ruth Pinner for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed. Assistant City Attorney Rubin. Deputy. Sorry. Too many deputies. Thank you, Marcus.
Ruth Bitter, claims reimbursement in the amount of $7,036.19 for damages that allegedly arose from an injury she occurred, when she fell while riding the city bus, back on July 5th of last year. The city disputes liability for claim damages, standing with the bus moving.
On McCarthy.
Was the dog full?
The bus was empty, but for her.
Any questions? I'll make a motion to move to the second. Probably moved by the chair, seconded by the vice chair. All those in favor for disallowance, please state aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries.
Item number 1179-23, communication sponsored by Alder West on behalf of the city attorney's office submitting the claim of Frank Rhodes for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed. Deputy City Attorney Robick is here to speak on the item.
So Frank Rhodes filed a claim with the city requesting $1,770.22 from damages allegedly arising from the roof of his vehicle being struck by a tree branch. Was parked in front of his residence at 1622 Holmes Avenue in Racine. That on March 8th, 2023. Not only was this claim untimely filed, but the city denies liability for the alleged damages. There's some discrepancy in the claim as to when exactly this happened, but either he parked where there were horses indicating there shouldn't be parking, or he parked under this tree the day after it was trimmed, and there's no evidence that the tree was what caused the issue with the vehicle. So we are recommending this.
Alderman McCarthy.
Thank you again. So usually we say we had no knowledge of it because we inspected the trees that are there. We didn't inspect the trees or whatever. Here, we obviously something about that tree, we're coming tree here, so you're fine. You're fine as far as.
I may have left out a few details. During that week, the week in question, the city forestry department was out on this lot, just trimming all the trees, giving them a haircut, trimming them as needed. But we have the specific date that this tree was trimmed, which is the day before the alleged incident occurred. And in his claim, he even claims on the date the tree was trimmed that there were warning horses out there, so we wouldn't go back and put parking there.
All right, thank you. I'll make the motion to disallow. Probably moved by the chair and seconded by Alderman McCarthy. All those in favor for disallowance, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right, motion carries.
Item number 1180-23, communication sponsored by Alder West on behalf of the city attorney's office submitting the claim of Geico Secure Insurance Company for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed. Deputy City Attorney.
So this one was filed by Geico Insurance Company. They insure a vehicle owned by Betsy Swoops, and Betsy Swoops apparently allowed another person to drive her vehicle, Yana Griffin. Geico is claiming $6,341.85, allegedly arising from an accident involving a City of Racine bus. What happened was the City of Racine bus was proceeding through an intersection on a green light, and the insured vehicle was flew through a red and ended up getting hit by the bus because of that. So the city disputes the liability for damages claimed and the amount of damages, and we recommend disallowance.
Move to disallow. Second. All right, probably moved by the chair and seconded by the vice chair. All those in favor for disallowance, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 1181-23, communication sponsored by Alder West on behalf of the city attorney's office submitting the claim of Jose Thomas Fernandez for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed.
Jose Thomas Fernandez filed a claim with the city requesting $1,059.97 for damages resulting from him running over the sort of flat part of a traffic cone, they like mount them in, I think, old tires maybe. So the tire part, the flat bottom part, that was located on a sidewalk that he was riding his bicycle on, in the vicinity of Sixth Street and Marquette in Racine back on October 2nd of last year. Under the city ordinances, any person over 10 years of age is not allowed to be riding a bicycle on the sidewalk within city limits. So his injuries really resulted from the fact that he was breaking the law, not so much that he had a traffic cone out there. So the city denies liability for damages and offense disallowance.
All right, thank you. I'll make a motion to disallow.
Okay.
Properly moved by the chair and seconded by Alderman Lamb. All those in favor for disallowance, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries.
Item number 1182-23, communication sponsored by Alder West on behalf of the city attorney's office submitting the claim of Charista Bernata. Okay, for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed.
Krista Bernata, filed a claim with the city requesting $500 for alleged damages sustained to her front door and door jam resulting from, city overseeing first responders having to break in the front door of a residence in order to gain access to her when her son had called 911 claiming his mother was home alone and fell. They searched the residence for other points of entry that would be more accessible and found none. All the doors and windows were locked. And she was the only one home alone, so they used their discretion to gain access through the front door and doing so allegedly did some damage. But because of the discretionary immunity that the city enjoys, we are not legally liable for these damages and tremendous amounts.
Disallowance.
Properly moved by Alderman McCarthy and seconded by the vice chair. All those in favor for disallowance, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, it carries.
So at this point, would you like me to read the closed session language and then you would vote to go into closed session?
Yes.
Okay. It is intended that the Finance and Personnel Committee will convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute Section 19851G to discuss strategy for litigation in which the city of Racine is or is likely to become involved and pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19851E to address matters that for competitive or bargaining reasons requires a closed session.
Move to enter closed session.
Second. Properly moved by Alderman McCarthy and seconded by Alderman West.
Roll
Take
call.
roll call, please.
Alder West,
Aye.
Alder Horton,
Aye.
Alder Land,
Aye.
Alder Pathra,
Aye.
Alder McCarthy.
Aye.
That completes roll call to go into closed session.
Thank you.
Go for it.